Hey friends, and welcome to Mom Talk Maryland. I'm your host, Claire Duarte, founder of the Columbia Mom, and this is your spot for real conversations, local love, and a whole lot of community. Whether you're folding laundry, running errands, or hiding in your car for some peace and quiet, let's dive in. All right.
Good morning.
Let's get into it. Good morning. We've already had ourselves a morning. Oh my goodness. I have way too many beverages. We're going to move them a little bit. You know what? I can't decide between coffee and protein, so we need both.
Yes.
We need both. But, well, cheers.
I know.
We have...
Cheers to
cheers.
us.
I love your bows. You would have bows.
Yes.
I know. So today we have Kerry Whippee. Am I saying that correctly?
Mm-hmm.
I thought so. And I'm really excited to have you here. We've been talking for I met you kind of early on in my business, really.
Yeah, and mine too.
Yeah, and didn't you participate with our giveaways the first year?
Yes.
I think so.
Yes.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
And I love your little pop-up sales that you guys have done. But anyways, I want to introduce Kerry Whippee, and I love a good origin story. So please tell us a little bit more about you and how you got your start, and of course about your business.
Thank you so much for having me here, Claire.
Yeah.
So, hello everyone. I'm Kerry Whippee with Shamrock Design. I'm a mom. I'm a wife, and I am the founder and creator of Shamrock Design. It's crazy to say still 4 years later.
Right.
And so it all started with passion. I love decorating my own home, and I realized I was friends with a handful of realtors. I had some girlfriends over, and I just kept getting this tug from them.
Yeah.
Did you know that there's home staging, and did you know that, have you ever thought about interior design? And
yeah.
I'm like, oh, you're sweet.
Right. Oh my God. That's always how it gets started.
Yes,
yeah.
I'm like, okay, that's really sweet of you and cute, but no way could I ever make this a business.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine gave me a shot. She was like, I really need my exterior. She had just built this gorgeous deck, was going to throw a huge fall party, and it was empty. I mean, it was naked. And so she was like, I will pay you to go to all the stores and do whatever you need to do to make it come to life before this party. And I, again, was like, yeah, right. You're kidding.
Right.
And that's how it started. That's literally
so
how it
cool.
started. I just needed somebody to believe in me and give me a chance. And then I was able to use those photos and start talking about my passion.
Yeah.
And I feel like, talking about an origin story, people buy into why you do what you do. Yes, quality is crucial to us, communication and all those things. We have all of that foundation built. But if you don't have the passion and the love behind it, it's not going to resonate.
Yeah.
So I've been loving this since, I remember in middle school, you go to the counselor's office and they're like, so what do you want to do? What do you want to be when you grow up?
Yeah.
And when I saw, fashion and design and interiors and home, I just knew.
Yeah.
I remember having a swatch deck in my hand when I was 11. And I'm like, Mom, let me paint my room.
My God. Didn't you just love? Obviously you still do, but remember as a kid, just the whole wall of colors.
Yes.
Yeah.
My mom would take me.
Well, you and I are color girls. Not everybody are color people, but yes.
Yeah, my mom would take me to model homes on Saturdays.
Oh, God,
It was the best.
And now that's your job.
It is. I cannot believe I'm saying that. But yes, I'm very, very grateful for where this journey has taken me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So I love that. And I love that you led with passion because, me and my story too. I feel like that's why we've always clicked. You know what I mean? Because that's exactly how I got started. The same, not exactly like the people telling me to do because they saw you have a knack for Instagram.
Yes.
That's such a different world, but united with the passion, right? And I believe that that's how the best stories are written. You know what I mean? So, but tell us more now about Shamrock Hill, what you guys do, what you offer.
Sure,
and all
absolutely.
Of that. Yeah.
So we have 5,800 square feet in Halethorpe, which is just in between Catonsville and Elkridge.
Right off Route 1, right?
Yes, right off Route 1. And so we have built, we can stage almost 60, 70 houses
That's amazing.
I know it. There will be a warehouse sale for you soon.
I love me. Everyone asks, like, well, you and I both love. We were just talking about how we love links, but I digress. Yeah.
Yes. No. So, 5,800 square feet of warehouse space, and it's allowed us to be able to stage many houses. So we can stage, a little town home. We can stage a 8,000 square foot, mansion in Pikesville. Like it has allowed us to build a variety of inventory so that we can service more homes. Yeah. Because what we're going to put in an Annapolis home is not what we're going to put in Westminster.
Right. Exactly.
We offer vacant staging. We offer occupied staging. And occupied staging is a fancy name for saying that the sellers are going to be living in the home when they sell it.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And then interior styling. So we'll come out to the house and work with what somebody has, or if they've just moved in. A lot of times what we're dealing with is I'm downsizing, or I came from a 1-bedroom apartment and now I have 4 bedrooms, 3 baths, 3,000 square feet. Where do I start? And people just don't know where to start, and the size too. When you're coming from a smaller space, or the opposite, like our parents' generation, they're downsizing and they have no idea where to start.
I know,
going from the big to the smaller. So it's a lot of fun.
It is,
and it's an emotional part of their life, and we feel grateful to be a part of it. Right, whether they're selling or whether it is a design project. It's emotional, it can be stressful, and we hold their hand through it, and we love that.
I love that. So, and actually that's kind of one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on today, because I want to talk more about the specific. I mean, I always think the staging part is so cool, and that's probably why I'm sure that's a great part of your business and allows you to kind of really stabilize and do what you do, because it's such a need. I mean, I say a need, but it is a need, especially in like the realty world, the housing world, because we know, without getting too into the weeds, it's like, visualizations are everything. So when you can properly stage a home, I mean, realtors know this, obviously, it's a sales thing, it's a marketing thing, but it transforms the space. It does. Right. And that's, just from the sales marketing side, but like when we're talking, but that's why what I also want to talk about is just interior design, more for like, let's talk to the moms. Right. And we've done some fun collabs kind of already on this element, but since it's a little bit different format, and obviously we can't visually show you everything like a how-to with certain pieces, but what I was most interested in, and that I feel like so many moms can relate, that, we're both moms. Like I know your kids are a little bit older than mine. Like I say they're young, but they're younger kids,
we're
right?
Holding on to it.
Elementary age kids.
Yes.
But a lot of us feel like, we're in our homes, right? Mid-sized homes or whatever, and we have a lot of stuff, right? Because as moms, we have a lot of stuff. We've got kids. We've racked up years of crap at this point, right?
Yes.
And I always am like, and it's whether you have a certain style or not, you've probably, even if you're like, I have no style, no whatever, you could probably walk into space and you can kind of pick up clues, because you can sense some colors, you can sense a little patterns or lack thereof, right? So I do feel, I know for me, interior design feels really overwhelming. I feel like my mom has a really good knack for it, so I always like to have her come over and help style things. But like my husband and I both come from households where they had a lot of stuff, so our style is that like we feel like we put out a lot of stuff, and I have a hard time being simple. So I think the answer is not that, like, the answer isn't like, you're not trying to drive everybody to be simple, because that's a type of look.
Exactly.
So the goal doesn't have to be like, yes, decluttering can help any element of styling, I think, in any home, but the goal isn't always like the minimalistic look. You can still have a lot of stuff. Sure. It's just, I think it's all about balancing and making it work. And so I'm curious to know from you, pick your brain, what kind of principles and things that you and your team know and do that we can kind of share today. Because I feel like the one thing that comes to mind is I feel like it was from an architect or something like that, and they said, like, it's like the power of 3. Yes. And like, look, this is not styled well, but there's 3 pieces. That's a little example, right? Yes. I didn't do that for you. That just happened to be. I can't take credit for that. But I've heard that, so I didn't know if there's any other nuggets like that. Yeah, the power of 3 is like your starting point. So I feel like it's the basic recipe for a
vignette or a bookshelf or whatever it is.
Because you can take that principle and apply it to whether it's a couch, a wall, a bookshelf, floating shelf, patios, like tables,
you can
right?
it can incorporate a lot of different things. I feel like it's a base recipe and it's a good starting point. The main reason that people use the power of 3 and they talk about that is the balance and the weight.
Yeah.
So, and what we do a lot of times when we style is we start with either, if it's a dining table, it's a tablecloth. If it's a coffee table, it's a tray. So something to ground the pieces. So you want to start first to ground.
Grounding.
Yes.
Yeah.
Otherwise, when you have pieces that are just laying, like this cup, it can look like it's floating. So having something, either a tablecloth or a tray or a cutting board, something that gets you started, because then that weighs it down and grounds it.
Right.
And then you can start playing with the pieces that go on it. 3 is definitely popular, and I think it's a great starting point. You can do 5.
But it's almost like
the odd numbers help you your eye visually balance and know where to go. It's also important to have different heights too.
I was just going to say, because obviously I know that these rules aren't hard and fast, and they can always be broken and shifted. Yes, but I do remember the height, having varying heights, varying textures, varying colors.
Exactly. Yeah. You know your stuff, girl.
Well, I've been around the block a little bit, or seen enough to be like, okay, even if it's not within my home.
Yes, you can see. You're like, this is why this works. Because then it takes your eye somewhere, and you're starting upwards and you're going down. And then, like you said, having varying textures too. Yeah. So when we style pieces, if it's a round vase, I'll put a rectangular picture frame. Or if it's, so little things like that. So it's not all, if it's a round coffee table, I'll most likely put a rectangular tray.
Right.
And then vice versa. If it's a rectangular coffee table, I'll put a round tray. Right. Just to help your eye be visually interested, because that's what we want. We want to be visually interested and stimulated in a way that's like, ooh, this is pretty. I want to linger. Right. I want to stay. I want to hang out. I want to see what this is all about and move in a way through the home. That's what we want the buyers to do. We want the buyers to move in a way through the home that they're not looking like, oh goodness, look at the crack in the ceiling. And oh my goodness, I can't stand this flooring. Right. No, we want them to linger through and think about little Johnny in his bedroom and mom and dad coming over for Thanksgiving dinner and thinking about moments and the power of styling and staging and the powers of 3 and the power of composition and depth are what helps set your eye and relax your body so that you can go through the space in a way that's calming.
That's huge.
I mean, when I was looking for Airbnbs to go on, we just got back from Ocean City, and my husband was sending me all of these places. I was like, honey, no, I could not. I mean, God love a little tchotchke. Right. When it's overwhelming, you don't feel calm. There's something, and that's why the power of color. There's a psychology of color. You see a lot of yellows in kitchens. You see a lot of blues in baths. So there's reasons behind, and boy, do we love it. I know. But there's also a reason behind it.
Right, exactly. And I'm not sure how much you know in this specifically, but you're kind of already hinting at like, when you're talking about the brain and processing and things like that, and I feel like I'm doing so many things like with my kids on this and reading all these things, so I feel like it's so relevant. But I think that's a really important element that you mentioned, because like we're visually taking in our environment, right? And I mean, one thing in an old job of mine, I learned the phrase that like, visual clutter equals mental clutter. Even if we don't feel it, it's, think about it. You're visually taking, it's data that your brain is taking in. Right. And that's why we as moms, we hit that break, we hit that breaking point before maybe our husbands, right?
And I'm like, I'm throwing everything away.
Right. Because we get sick of taking in that data, that visual sensory, right? Which in one hand, like it helps motivate us to, clean and declutter or whatever. But I'm using that example and talking about clutter. The same thing is said about this, just spaces that we create in general, because you're right. Because in clutter, right, let's use that example. It's creating a negative emotion, right? We're getting frustrated because when you think about it, why are we getting frustrated? Because there's too many things. It's out of balance. It's out of whack, right? Like in my office right now.
I know.
We've talked about this 1,000 times. It's just an ever oh my God, actually we should do, like, I always love to, before the school season, to clean it up. We can do that.
And the mudroom too, like the mudroom, because in the summer, I mean, I don't know about you, I have like a couple different pool bags, and then I have the bag from the ocean. Yes.
Yep.
And it's like, wait, where are the goggles?
Where does everything go? I know.
So it's about to be, where's the backpacks? Where's the,
Right. So here's a perfect example. So while we're still talking about clutter, I still want to keep talking about, the other things, but perfect example of how spaces make you feel. I mean, you can obviously argue that places like an office, you might feel more stressed because it is a place of work.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So even if it's set up correctly, but the goal is, like, I know that I want to feel more at peace in there. And right now I've let it go. And again, that's okay, because reality with styling, you're going to live in your home,
exactly.
and that's part of it.
Yes.
But like, and you've seen, like, where my podcast area is at home. I have my walking desk, so I do primarily work up there now. But every now and then, I'll still like to sit at my sitting desk downstairs. But it's a mess, because it's like all the kids' school stuff is still piled up.
Yes.
There's piles of paper. I have all these. I don't know if you saw that balloon arc from my event this weekend. My daughter, God bless her, but like, if she cut them up, she didn't cut the balloons, but cut the string up. So now, instead of one long arch in my room, it's a fucking confetti of balloons everywhere.
Oh, my goodness.
So anyway, here's the example of, like, I feel so sensory overwhelmed to be in this room, and it's not enjoyable for me. I feel, because I already have my running. We all have. You don't need to be a mom to have a running to-do list. I already have my running to-do list. I'm sitting here doing a call, and again, I'm talking about the visual input.
Yes.
Like, I can't enjoy being in this space, even though the walls behind me are mostly decorated and fine. All the stuff sitting in front of me, the freaking balloons that are everywhere, piles over here, and then I have some piles on the desk that I know that I need to take care of.
Yes.
There are systems in there, but it's just the overwhelm, right? And we all have hot spots.
Yes.
In our home.
Absolutely.
And there are methods to the madness of managing some of the hot spots, but on contrast, of course, like, we all want our bedrooms to be a more place of serene, because that way we can have more calm. And like, I remember I showed you, like, we introduced more blues in our bedroom, and that transformative power, the calm and the beauty that I feel, it does make me really happy to be in there. And so anyway, so we talked about Power 3. Is there any other cool principles or things like that we can use?
So layering is also really helpful. A cozy blanket, a favorite pillow, and just layering, like we were talking about, having a tray or having the tablecloth, layering pieces that you love but are also usable. Decorate with a salt pepper, a salt shaker in the kitchen. You're also going to use it, and the texture of the wood is pretty and grounding, and has substantial weight to it. So using what you're going to decorate with purpose. And like, I have really beautiful boxes on my foyer table, and they get used every single day. Like, they've got the kids' sunglasses in them. But goodness, if we didn't have those, and when we didn't a few months ago,
exactly,
the foyer, you couldn't even see the foyer table. No. It was the keys and the glasses and the goggles, and so storage can be pretty, really pretty baskets. Goodness, I feel like I could keep going.
Well, actually, I'll send you a picture if I haven't already. But, like, here's a perfect example. Like, again, when I set up the podcast studio at home, and originally I had my walking desk set up there first, but then I moved that over to the corner. But what I got, a friend recommended. It's, it's like super cheap, and it's not real wicker. It's probably like wicker, like plastic wicker that's painted brown, but it looks like a wicker basket. And because I have all these cords, and again, the visuals. Again, I think we need to take. Just remember how powerful that is in our brains, right?
Yes.
All seeing, even though they were like in one spot, all the cords would it like stressed me out.
Yes.
And isn't that so interesting? I'm like, well, they're in like one spot. It's not bad, but visually containing them. So this little wicker basket, it's kind of like a rectangle, and it has a little cutout on the side, so the cords can kind of go in.
Oh, there you go.
And I have power strip in there. So they're like, out of sight, out of mind. Even so now, and that looks much better. There's still a lot, but oh my God, that transformed. So like when I walk into that space now, I feel way less stressed because I'm not taking in that extra visual.
I love that.
And it's amazing the power of one little thing. And that's just an example of like, that's a cord hider, right? So that's a perfect example. Like, yes, I'm hiding something that feels stressful, but the same thing I think can be said like, when you add just a throw blanket at the end of a bed.
Yes.
Or I think people sometimes get scared of too much color. Luckily, we are not those gals, but like a pop of color with those throw pillows on a couch. It's just crazy how little things like that, or even like putting a vase of, oh my gosh, pampas grass, like little, because that's a whole different texture.
Yes.
And it's crazy how just some little things can really transform a space.
Yeah, and whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I feel like there's so many rules these days, and there's designers out there that are like, do this, do this, do this. The first thing when we're in a design consultation, I'm like, tell me what you love.
Right.
What colors do you love? What colors do you not love? Like, let's go hop over to Pinterest.
Yeah.
And they'll send me pictures. I'm like, okay, what about this picture do you love?
Right.
Because by no means am I trying to change somebody's style. I'm trying to bring out their style and help it be effective in their home.
Right. And it's not that and again, like you and I both know, like we're very colorful gals. It's not that like this is your field and this is your profession, but it's not like you're coming in and all of a sudden, they have to now throw up a rainbow.
Exactly.
No, it's all about taking their style and I think that's what you and your team do so well. It's kind of like almost like having like a style consult and helping that person discover that and know that about themselves, which I think is so important to the process.
Yeah, because they'll see a photo and they'll send me a photo on Pinterest. That's the first part of the design process.
Yeah. Walk me through that a little bit.
So we start with a pretty detailed questionnaire, just trying to get to know them and what their goals are. And then we'll jump over to Pinterest and I'm like, we'll start a board. And we're both collaborators on the board, and I'll have them pin a ton of stuff. And I'm like, it doesn't matter what it is, just pin it, just go crazy. And then during the consultation, we sit down and we look through every single pin. And I ask them, what did you love about this? What did you love about that? That way I can get to know them very intimately and put on my Claire hat and go to work for them, because it's not about me. It's not about my home. It's about their goals.
Right.
And it's a lot of fun because everyone's in different stages of life, whether, we just renovated our basement and it's empty and I have no idea where to start.
Yep.
I'm like, oh my gosh.
Oh,
let me have at it. So yeah, it's a lot of fun, and the Pinterest board helps too, because then I can see, I'm like, okay, I'm seeing a pattern. I see a lot of oranges. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's my favorite color. They don't even realize. They're just pinning. Right. That's why I'm like, don't think about it. Just have fun. Because then what I want to do is I want to make sure I incorporate those things, because that's, like you were saying, the calming effect. I also, like, when they go into their home or when they go into their bathroom or whatever it is, I want them to smile.
Yeah.
I want them to feel like, oh my gosh, these are my favorite elements, these are my favorite pieces, and I don't even think I even knew that. Yeah. And so it's a discovery. Right. It's absolutely a discovery process, and I said this earlier, but it's amazing to be a part of it, and we're grateful.
And I feel like you can, what's I think really helpful and informative about the assessment and kind of like consult process. Obviously, like you need to get to know your clients, but sometimes, like, again, I feel like when people are coming to you, I feel like most times people have like, okay, I know that I like these things, and I have a visual. I like these things, and this is sort of my vision, but don't know how to get there. Don't know how to kind of parse it down. And I bet that your team is also, like you mentioned the power of color, and we could probably do a whole podcast just on the power, which we should. Yes. Because I'm sure that there's also times when like you can say to the client, hey, you mentioned these goals. You also mentioned that these are your favorite colors. I'm sure there's times when you're like, yes, I would love to play with these colors, but these colors might not align.
Exactly. Yes.
You know what I mean?
And then I can get into the psychology of color. Exactly. I can get into why it won't work and explain it to them. I can get a little technical. Right. I try to, because I know when somebody comes to me and it's not a profession that I'm even remotely knowledgeable on.
Right.
I'm like, okay, wait a second, let's bring it down. So I tried to get on their level and help explain why or why not it's going to work. And then, like we were saying earlier, visuals are so crucial. So we'll have them in. I'll either go back out to their home, we'll have them into the office, bring them into the conference room, and we can do, you know, an entire mood board to show them.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's where the magic
I feel like that's the best part. I know. Okay, one final question to wrap is, what is you kind of already said this, like whether you're staging an empty house or a client has I'm guessing they don't always have like a full empty house. Maybe it's like a room that they're focusing on. If someone gives you like the, you know, just you have at it. I mean, obviously they give you like a little direction. Where do you start first? What gets you most excited? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what kind of goes through your brain? Like, oh my God, I can't, like, because I feel like you probably just start going, but I'm just curious, like, what excites you the most and where do you start?
So the most oftentimes when people say my room feels unfinished and I really need help with my room, I go to the home. They don't have a rug, they don't have window treatments, and they don't have things on the wall, and they don't have a variety of light. So those four components, having a rug to ground the space, having window coverings to draw your eye up. Again, it can block light, it can let light through. It's just a really beautiful visual component to a window. I know I was guilty of not having anything on my wall for several years.
Oh, of course, yeah.
And that's another thing too. I'm like, don't rush.
And that's another thing. It's like, same thing.
Take your time.
Less is always more.
Yes. My cousin recently moved to Florida, and I saw her over the weekend, and she's like, Kerry, my house is still empty. I'm like, let it stay that way. Don't rush it. Find pieces that you love. And so the fourth thing was the window treatment or the wall art. So putting things on your walls really helps, whether that's photos of the family or it's a beautiful, you know, piece you found at a flea market, like whatever it is, have it be something that you love and you didn't just, okay, well, everyone has this piece, or like, I've seen this piece everywhere and I love it. Like, make sure it's something that means something to you, because those are the pieces that are going to last.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Oh, well, thank you so much, Kerry, for being on here. And this is why I know that, like, we've always clicked from the beginning, and like, I get so excited, like, thinking about, like, oh my God, we could do this, we can do that. And like, I love, like, seeing your vision come to life. And
thank you.
Please keep us posted on your upcoming warehouse sales or any other events. We'll definitely be sharing them on our website and socials. And also be on the lookout when we, if you're hearing this, you check out our show notes, and you can also link to a few of Shamrock's blogs where they also talk about some of these tips and styling elements. So those will also be all linked here for you. But thanks so much for being on today.
I love this. I love this so much. Thank you so much, Claire.
I'm looking forward to more projects.
Me too.
Yay.
Yay, girl.
Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Mom Talk Maryland. If you loved it, leave a review, share it with a friend, or tag me at the.columbiamom on Instagram. I'd love to hear what you think. And don't forget to follow the show so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep showing up, keep supporting local, and keep being the incredible mom, woman, human that you are.